right, so hopefully you watched that speeded up version of how I do evergreens. And I wanted to show you a couple other of how to do them in a landscape. Let's say we have a horizon line back here. Just going to soften it in. And it's just so that I can place things, because I'm just sort of making this up. Deciduous tree. You guys know what deciduous means, I hope. It means a tree that loses its leaves. Now, people have a tendency to do these in very rigid ways. Don't be rigid. Okay. I'm going to be very free form in how I'm doing this. See how I'm twisting as I go up. So if I'm creating a tree that has lost its leaves, you notice how I took the charcoal and I used the side of the charcoal and I went back and forth this way. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in. I'm going to decide where my light source is coming from. And I'm going to darken up the side that's in shadow. I'm going to take my blender. What I might actually do is come in, put the material directly on my blender. And darken it up. And then I might use the other side to soften it and lighten it. Because I used the willow charcoal, I can do that. And I can come back in, darken this up. And what I may do is come in soften this, depending on how I want the bark to look. Now if I'm doing a birch style bark, I might go back and forth this direction. Birch trees tend to have bark that is back and forth. If I'm doing a different kind of tree, again, you know, I'm going to start at the base of the tree. And you notice how I'm making the edge irregular, because I don't want it to be regular. Again, I want to come in and I want to darken up the one side. You see how I'm keeping it irregular. And then what I might do is I might come in and go up and down in striations. Might come in. I might actually come in and use my charcoal pencil, because I can get a sharp line and put in my detail, and then go back in and soften it out on my trunk for the way I want my the outside of the tree. I'm having a brain cramp. You guys know what I'm talking about. You're all sitting at home going, the word is, and I'm sitting here going, what the heck's the word? And I'm going to come down to the bottom, and I'm going to start to put in my roots as they come off of the tree and disappear into the ground, depending on what type of tree that it is. I'm just going to draw it using lightly at first, using my blender. And then I'm going to come back and darken up on the one side, because my light's coming this direction. Since my light is coming this direction, I have to put my shadows on this side. And I'm just going to soften up in between. Bark! Brain cramp. Bark. Yeah, keep laughing. It happens to all of us as we get older. You'll find out. Okay. So I can begin to build my trunk this way. And if I want, I can come in and I can put in some light. Along this area. I'm going to make it real uneven. I don't want it to be regular. I want it to be irregular. Okay. Now, if I want to take this tree from having just branches, having leaves, I'm not going to do individual leaves. I'm literally going to be abstract in the way that I put the charcoal down. And it gets darker on this side, so I'm going to go back in and darken up some areas. Quite literally, that is it. I mean, you don't want to do much more than that. You come in and soften up some of these areas. Some of these areas in the back can be softened up as if they're getting more light. That's a tree. That's a deciduous tree. That's a tree that loses its leaves. So that's really all you're going to be doing. That looks a little dark, so I'm going to soften that up. I'm going to come in and put in the dirt around the tree, base of the tree. You see how I'm using my blender to do it. And I'm actually doing it in a very just free-form way. And I'm moving my blender and rotating it so that it looks like the ground is changing and modulating its shape. Okay. All right. So those are some ideas for you on how to do some of these textures.